Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Yeah.
Gaura Premanande Haribo. First, I'd like to offer prayers for Ladli Devi Dasi in San Diego, California. She's one of the great devotees of ISKCON. And she's got a severe health issue going on. Dear Srila Prabhupada, Dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Gaura Nitai, Shri Shri Radha Giridhari, if you so desire, please keep Ladli Devi Dasi close to your lotus feet. Please protect her consciousness and keep her eternally engaged in your service. She's very dear to many devotees, and we pray for her protection at your wish. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone who'd like to send their good wishes to this great devotee, please say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
And it'll be of great satisfaction to pay our taxes first by chanting our chapter of Bhagavad Gita. We've been starting at text number 23, and we've been reading the Sanskrit, which is a great delight, but today we'll read the English. And that will start on page 341. I first offer my respectful obeisances to His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, who's given us the Bhagavad Gita as it is. To all the previous acharyas, and to Lord Krishna, who in one fell swoop, by speaking the Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna saved the whole world. Hare Krishna. Text 23. Everyone ready?
Yes.
O mighty armed one, all the planets with their demigods are disturbed at seeing your great form, with its many faces, eyes, arms, thighs, legs, and bellies, and your many terrible teeth. And as they are disturbed, so am I. O all-pervading Vishnu, as I see you with your many radiant colors touching the sky, your gaping mouths and your great glowing eyes, my mind is perturbed by fear. I can no longer maintain my steadiness or equilibrium of mind. O Lord of Lords, O refuge of the worlds, please be gracious to me. I cannot keep my balance seeing thus your blazing death-like faces and awful teeth. In all directions I am bewildered. All the sons of Dhritarashtra, along with their allied kings, and Bhishma, Drona, Karna, and our chief soldiers also, are rushing into your fearful mouths, and some I see trapped with heads smashed between your teeth. As the many waves of the rivers flow into the ocean, so do all these great warriors enter into your blazing mouths. I see all people rushing full speed into your mouths, as moths dash to destruction into a blazing fire. O Vishnu, I see you devouring all people from all sides with your flaming mouths. covering all the universe with your effulgence. You are manifest with terrible scorching rays. O Lord of Lords, so fierce a form, please tell me who you are. I offer my obeisances unto you. Please be gracious to me. You are the primal Lord. I want to know about you, for I do not know what your mission is. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, Time I am, the great destroyer of the worlds, and I have come here to destroy all people. With the exception of you, the Pandavas, all the soldiers here on both sides will be slain. Therefore get up, prepare to fight and win glory. Conquer your enemies and enjoy a flourishing kingdom. They are already put to death by my arrangement, and you, O Sabyasachi, can be but an instrument in the fight. Drona, Bhishma, Jayadratha, Karna, and the other great warriors have already been destroyed by me. Therefore kill them and do not be disturbed. Simply fight, and you will vanquish your enemies in battle. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, O king, after hearing these words from the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the trembling Arjuna offered obeisances with folded hands again and again. He fearfully spoke to Lord Krishna in a faltering voice as follows. Arjuna said, O master of the senses, the world becomes joyful upon hearing your name, and thus everyone becomes attached to you. Although the perfected beings offer you their respectful homage, the demons are afraid, and they flee here and there. All this is rightly done. O great one, greater than Brahma, you are the original creator. Why then should they not offer their respectful obeisances unto you? O limitless one, God of gods, refuge of the universe, you are the invincible source, the cause of all causes, transcendental to this material manifestation. You are the original personality of Godhead, the oldest, the ultimate sanctuary of this manifested cosmic world. You are the knower of everything, and you are all that is knowable. You are the supreme refuge above the material modes. O limitless form, this whole cosmic manifestation is pervaded by you. You are air, and you are the supreme controller. You are fire, you are water, and you are the moon. You are Brahma, the first living creature, and you are the great-grandfather. I therefore offer my respectful obeisance unto you 1,000 times, and again, and yet again. Obeisances to you from the front, from behind, and from all sides. O unbounded power, you are the master of limitless might. You are all-pervading, and thus you are everything. Thinking of you as my friend, I have rashly addressed you, O Krishna, O Yadava, O my friend, not knowing your glories. Please forgive whatever I have done in madness or in love. I have dishonored you many times, jesting as we relaxed, lay on the same bed, or sat or ate together, sometimes alone and sometimes in front of many friends. O infallible one, please excuse me for all those offenses. You are the Father of this complete cosmic manifestation, of the moving and the non-moving. You are its worshipful chief, the supreme spiritual master. No one is equal to you, nor can anyone be one with you. How then could there be anyone greater than you within the three worlds, O Lord of immeasurable power? You are the supreme Lord, to be worshipped by every living being. Thus I fall down to offer you my respectful obeisances and ask your mercy. As a father tolerates the impudence of his son, a friend the impertinence of a friend, or a husband the familiarity of his wife, please tolerate the wrongs I may have done you. After seeing this universal form, which I have never seen before, I am gladdened, but at the same time my mind is disturbed with fear. Therefore, please bestow your grace upon me and reveal again your form as the personality of Godhead. O Lord of Lords, O abode of the universe. O universal form, O thousand-armed Lord, I wish to see you in your four-armed form, with helmeted head and with club, wheel, conch, and lotus flower in your hands. I long to see you in that form. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, happily have I shown you by my internal potency this supreme universal form within the material world. No one before you has ever seen this primal form, unlimited and full of glaring effulgence. O best of the Kuru warriors, no one before you has ever seen this universal form of mine. For neither by studying the Vedas, nor by performing sacrifices, nor by charity, nor by pious activities, nor by severe penances can I be seen in this form in the material world. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible feature of mine. Now let it be finished. My devotee, be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind, you can now see the form you desire. Sanjaya said to Dhritarashtra, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, having spoken thus to Arjuna, displayed his real four-armed form, and at last showed his two-armed form, thus encouraging the fearful Arjuna. When Arjuna thus saw Krishna in his original form, he said, O Janardhan, seeing this human-like form so very beautiful, I am now composed in mind, and I am restored to my original nature. The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, My dear Arjuna, this form of mine you are now seeing is very difficult to behold. Even the demigods are ever seeking the opportunity to see this form, which is so dear. The form you are seeing with your transcendental eyes cannot be understood simply by studying the Vedas, nor by undergoing serious penances, nor by charity, nor by worship. It is not by these means that one can see me as I am. My dear Arjuna, only by undivided devotional service can I be understood as I am, standing before you, and can thus be seen directly. Only in this way can you enter into the mysteries of my understanding. My dear Arjuna, he who engages in my pure devotional service, free from the contaminations of fruitive activities and mental speculation, he who works for me, who makes me the supreme goal of his life, and who is friendly to every living being, he certainly comes to me. Thus end the Bhaktivedanta translations to the 11th chapter of the Srimad Bhagavad Gita in the matter of the universal form. And now we'll chant the last 10 verses in the Sanskrit, which we will find at the top of 335. Right? Oh. Top in the middle of 336. Adrishta purvam rishitosmi drishtva vayena chapra pratitam mano me tareva me darshaya deva rupam prasida devesha jagannivasa kiritinam kandanam chakrahastam Hishami tvam drashtumaham tataiva Tenaiva rupena chaturbaho bhava vishvamurte Sri Bhagavan uvacha Maya prasannena tavarjunedam Rupam param tarshitam atma yogat Tejo mayam vishvam ananta adyam Yanme tvat anyena na drishta purvam na vedya yajna dananair na danair na chakriyad bir na tapo bir ukrai evam rupa shakya ahamdra loke drashtun tvat anyena kuru pravira mate vyatama chavimura bhavo Drishvarupam Gauramidrin Bamedam Vyapeta Biprita Manapunastvam Tadeva Me Rupam Idam Prapasya Sanjayuvacha Ityarjunam Vasudevas Tatoktva swakam rupam darshayam asabhuya ashvasayam asachapitanenam Udva puna saumya vapur mahatma Arjuna vacha Trishvedam manusham rupam Tava saumyam janardana Idanim asmi sambritta Sacheta prakritim kataha Shri Bhagavan uvacha Sudutarsham idam rupam Drishtavan asmiyam mama Deva apyasya rupasya Nityam darshana kamshina Naham veda na tapasa Na danina na chejaya Shakya evam vido drashtum Drishtavan asimam yata Vaktya tvananyaya shakya Aham evam vidorjuna Gyatum drashtum cha tatrena Praveshtum cha parantapa Mad karma krinma paramo Mad bhakta sangha varjitaha Nivaira sarva bhuteshu Yasamam eti pandava Om tat saditi Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samhare Vishwarupa Darshana Yoga Nama Ekadasho Dhyayaha Hari Om. It's an excellent practice to complete chanting at least one chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. If you plan for that and budget it into your schedule, if you're from the UK, or your regular schedule if you're from anywhere else, then you'll notice that it just fits nicely into your day and doesn't take much time. And if you keep the Bhagavad Gita at hand and are always ready to chant your chapter, you can invite other people. It's a good way to make friends. If you want to make friends, you invite people to come and chant with you. I've had the experience in traveling with my friend Satyadev. We were going to various places around the world, and wherever we'd go, we'd take time during the day to chant our Bhagavad Gita together. Of course, when there's two people, then you have to make a little extra arrangement because you both have to be there at the same time and ready to go. And whatever ashram we stayed in, people would notice that we were getting together. And after the first couple of days, people came by and said, "Is this open for other people?" And a few people told a few people, and by the time we were at the end of our stay in any particular place, we'd noticed that everyone was doing it. It's also nice too if you go to somebody's house for an event, or more likely for prasadam, which is an event in and of itself. You could always suggest, would you like to chant a chapter of Bhagavad Gita? Oftentimes when we get together, there's conversation, but there are different levels of conversation. Some levels, the lower ones, although they may be civil and they may relate in some ways to Krishna consciousness, considering that they may touch on the lives of devotees or the devotees who are discussing previous or present lives. When there's a chanting of the Bhagavad Gita to punctuate that at the end, it brings everything to another level. And oftentimes it leads to a discussion. You could also, after chanting a chapter, either in English or Sanskrit or both, suggest, well, why don't we pick out one purport to read? And somebody might then ask a question, lead to a conversation. This kind of, as they say, mission drift is always a good idea, because tendency is for conversations to seek their lowest level. And you may notice also in any given conversation if there's some observation about the shortcomings of a particular body or person. I mean body in the sense of a organizational body. That the conversation ends up being base and not very satisfying. And one may go home feeling cheated that I didn't get anything. The remedy? Chant one chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Everything changes immediately. Same with doing it alone. That one's prospect in life may seem dire or gloomy because nobody likes me, or I wasn't able to live up to the standards of certain people. But Krishna likes us, so we can cheer up. Especially likes it when we chant Bhagavad Gita. He tells Uddhava in the 11th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, he especially likes those in the human form. So if you're human, you can start there, feel happy, and then fulfill your destiny as a human and chant Bhagavad Gita. Lord Chaitanya quoted Bhagavad Gita, and don't you love it when you're reading the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and Lord Chaitanya's teaching, Sanatana or Rupa Goswami, or even in the Ramananda Sambad, and a verse comes up from the Bhagavad Gita and you say, oh, I know that. And it comes to us, as a friend, because we're used to saying it, looking at it, thinking about it. I find that when I recite the Bhagavad Gita on a regular daily basis, that it comes to me quite naturally when I'm just walking around, getting on or off a rickshaw, just about to sit somewhere, and sometimes a partial verse comes into my mind. Have you ever had this occurrence? That suddenly you think of a line from a verse you didn't even know you knew it. But then suddenly it's there in your mind, maybe not completely, but then you might say it a few times and then think, oh, I'm going to look into this. And then you might go more deeply within the verse. If you chant the same chapter over and over again in different circumstances every day, and you'll find that, well, what I like to call it is it softens the chapter. So you start becoming familiar with it. And then if there's ever a time you wanted to go more deeply within any of the verses, or really lean into memorizing it, which takes a very peak, it's a peak experience, actually memorizing something on a schedule. Doesn't it, Shamalangi? She's a champion memorizer. But you have to get into a peak state of consciousness to do it. And it feels good. It feels as if you're fulfilling the purpose for human life, because these bodies we have are powerful instruments, but we barely use them. It's like having what's a good car? I don't want to say any particular car. Like, do you call it Porsche or Porsche? So it was an old joke. So I was driving my Toyota, and Gary Sandlin. You have it, and then you just leave it in the garage, and it doesn't do anything for you. Drive it 5 miles an hour because there's so much traffic. So human body has a capability of hearing Shastra. It was built for Shastra, to hear Shastra and to memorize Shastra and then to imbibe it and live it. So swadhyayaha, it's the only really fulfilling thing that we do is for ourselves is to hear and chant properly and sufficiently. So, just like if you have a deficient diet and then you get good advice about what to add. Like some people are low on vitamin D and they don't even know it. But then let's say you get a blood test and they say you're low on D. And then you start taking vitamin D supplements, and then suddenly you have a spring in your step, and you feel again that perhaps I'm a little bit more in balance. So, in a similar way, if you feel little bit deficient spiritually, you might think about for the day, you can tick that one off. And if you want to continue, you can join. It's an underground organization, which makes it more exciting. We don't tell many people about it, but it's called CHAD, Chapter a Day. There's a website called readchad.com. And you can figure out where the thousands of devotees who clandestinely chant their chapter every day go to figure out how to be in sync. And everyone right now around the world is doing the section we just did. So we're in harmony with them. Do you have any realizations you want to share about chanting Bhagavad Gita? Your experience with it? Like right now, while you're passing the monk, so Sudarshana Idam Rupam, it was just going through my head. Just now. Okay, go ahead.
Guru Maharaj, when you mention all those books like Teachings of Lord Chaitanya, Chaitanya Charitamrita, like all the conversations between Mahaprabhu and Sanatana Goswami and Rupa Goswami, and Bhagavad Gita is a conversation between Krishna and Arjuna. Like these are conversations that are between highly elevated souls. And when you see two people, important people talking, and you're not in that group, and you wish, oh, I wish I know what they're saying to each other. I wish I know what's going on. And we have access to all of that through these books. And if we can read them and know what's going on between them. So I'm just realized that part, and thank you so much for reminding us.
So true. It's almost, we're privy to with the greatest souls of the world. It's almost like eavesdropping. Wouldn't you like to hear what they're discussing right now? And wish you could have been there. Well, you can, through hearing Shastra. That's the power of revealed scripture. Yes, Pavani Bhakti? Go ahead.
Thank you, Gurudev. This was so much in line with the chapter that we are reading from Srimad Bhagavatam on Narad Muni, where Vyasadeva was despondent, and the response was that you haven't sufficiently and repeatedly glorified Krishna. And Chad is so much in those lines that we have to repeatedly, sufficiently keep glorifying and keep imbibing the mood of Bhagavad Gita. And I really like the point, and I see you all the time when you go in the car, you always read Bhagavad Gita or Srimad Bhagavatam. I never did that, but today it just hit me when you said that, you could just, when you go to somebody's home or like in our roommates, we can just read a chapter together. Or when we are going rickshaw so many times, we could just open up and do a verse. I really regretted that I did not do, but I'm going to try that the next time.
Yeah, definitely. The car is a fantastic place for hearing and chanting. There's a few other places I can think of. Any of you travel, there's waiting for your luggage. Just watch people, they're sitting there. When's it coming out? When's it coming out? When's it coming out? And if you have your shlokas ready, you pull them out and you're going, I don't want my luggage to come out yet, I'm not done. Now the post office, that's another place. I don't know if anybody still uses the post office, but if you ever happen to wait in line, there's a kind of body language that people have where they're looking and thinking, why does that guy hurry up? Then if you have your Shastra bag there, or whatever device, or whatever way you deliver the Shastra to your brain, you just pull it out right while you're waiting in line. And if you use those gaps, you can find that you can cover a lot of Shastra, you can memorize a lot of verses just walking around instead of looking at nothing, thinking of nothing. You can do that. Okay, this is it. We're closing at 1, 2, 3. Oh my God, 4, 5, 6. Okay, go ahead.
Over the years, I've seen that like remembering to do chad is like, these are Krishna's words. Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, is telling us, calling us. It's like a love letter. You also mentioned like how Srimad Bhagavatam is a love letter. So more than 550 verses are spoken by Krishna. So this is a love letter to us, like Krishna is saying, just remember me and come back to me. So I've realized that how with that mood, if we can chant Bhagavad Gita, and especially, getting Srila Prabhupada's translations, I think such a gift.
Fantastic. Thank you. Fantastic in a good way. Okay, whoever was next, just grab the mic. Yes.
Hare Krishna. So sometimes I'm a very fiery person. So like I always lose my temper. So doing chant makes me feel a bit more calmer. So that's a very good way to keep yourself calm.
Yeah, that's a good reason to become even-minded by reading Bhagavad Gita.
Hare Krishna. That's so amazing that we have this group virtually all over the world, and just knowing that so many people all over the world reading the same chapter every day makes me more disciplined, because it's almost like I don't see those people, but I feel that we're almost like in the same room doing the same things. So it really helps.
And I've noticed that those who know somebody else who's doing it and make it a point to come together, to learn it together, learn quite quickly. Yes.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I like what you mentioned about this, that this body has lots of power, we don't use it fully. And I was thinking about the verses also that I like. My father used to chant all the time, so I like to memorize. And every time when we go in the group or even at the temple, we try to memorize and in a group and just go. And it feels so good. Even one sloka makes a huge difference. If you don't have time, we do it for one sloka, two sloka, and then we try our best. So it's so true what you just said, that we should use our body and mind and intelligence in this way. That way we can memorize.
Yes, what Lord Shiva said to Parvati. You can pass the mic to Bhagavad. He told her, if you read one chapter, no, he said, just one verse, no half a verse, no even one line, one word, one syllable, that it's a transcendental connection to the Supreme Lord. Ma Bhagavat Prabhu.
Way back in 2009, when you said that be careful when you start this chant thing, you might find yourself stumbling out of bed, horrified to realize that you haven't done your chant today.
That's right.
I catch myself very often stumbling out of bed, horrified that I haven't completed my chant today.
Yeah, it's good to know that you do that. It does give a kind of boost to your whole psychological makeup to know that you have the wherewithal, especially in Canada, to get out of bed in the wintertime and do your chapter because you forgot to do it. You wake up, I forgot, and finish it. It gives a sense of spiritual integrity. Okay, is that it? Yes, one more, two more.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. Why don't we use our, all of our strength?
Well, the way the body's designed is that the senses have various levels of activity. For instance, the eyes, when they're not fully engaged, they tend to go into shutdown mode, just like your phone. You don't have a phone, right? Have you seen your father's phone? You look at it, sometimes it's fully bright, and other times it starts to power down automatically. Yeah, maybe it's in the sleep mode, right? So our senses have a way of when they're not fully engaged, they preserve energy and they don't overexert themselves. And of course we need that because they have to regenerate themselves and so forth. But if we stay regulated, as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, yukta hara viharasya, yukta shesasya karmasu, yukta swapna vibodhasya yogo bhavati dukkha. We can practice using our senses and at the right times bring them into the full use to get the most out of them, and then let them rest at the proper times. Some people get out of sync and they'll waste energy by looking at things or hearing things that are not uplifting, or they sleep at the wrong times, sleep too much or sleep too little. So, I mean, there are various reasons why we don't fully use all of the power of our bodies, but some of it has to do with living a regulated life. That's why yogis regulate their lives. They get up before the sun, they perform pranayama, they chant japa, take early morning bath, just so they can fully utilize the strength of their senses. I hope that wasn't too detailed for you. Was that all right? Okay. I'm going to read some Bhagavatam. And that's a whole other thing. If you can remind me, whoever's been on the tour, where we are, because 17. Finished 17, we're on 18. So we're reading from one of the most important chapters in the Bhagavatam. That's 1, 5, 18. And I'm going to read 3 verses straight through, Sanskrit and English, and we'll just listen to Prabhupada's voice and let it all go in. This is 18. Tasyaiva heto prayateta kovido na labhyate yad pramatam upariyata talabhyate dukhavadanyata sukham kalina sarvatra gabhira ranghasa. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should never endeavor only for that. Persons who are actually intelligent and philosophically inclined should endeavor only for that purposeful end which is not obtainable even by wandering from the topmost planet, Brahmaloka, down to the lowest planet, Patala. As far as happiness derived from sense enjoyment is concerned, it can be obtained automatically in course of time, just as in course of time we obtain miseries, even though we do not desire them. Purport: every man everywhere is trying to obtain the greatest amount of sense enjoyment by various endeavors. Some men are busily engaged in trade, industry, economic development, political supremacy, etc., and some of them are engaged in fruitive work to become happy in the next life by attaining higher planets. It is said that on the moon the inhabitants are fit for greater sense enjoyment by drinking soma ras, and the Pitriloka is obtained by good charitable work. So there are various programs for sense enjoyment, either during this life or in the life after death. Some are trying to reach the moon or other planets by some mechanical arrangement, for they are very anxious to get into such planets without doing good work. But it is not to happen. By the law of the Supreme, different places are meant for different grades of living beings according to the work they have performed. By good work only, as prescribed in the scriptures, can one obtain birth in a good family, opulence, good education, and good bodily features. We see also that even in this life one obtains a good education or money by good work. Similarly, in our next birth, we get such desirable positions only by good work. Otherwise, it would not so happen that two persons born in the same place at the same time are seen differently placed according to previous work. But all such material positions are impermanent. The positions in the topmost Brahmaloka and in the lowest Patala are also changeable according to our own work. The philosophically inclined person must not be tempted by such changeable positions. He should try to get into the permanent life of bliss and knowledge, where he will not be forced to come back again to the miserable material world, either in this planet or that planet. Miseries and mixed happiness are two features of material life, and they are obtained in Brahmaloka and in other lokas also. They are obtained in the life of the demigods and also in the life of the dogs and hogs. The miseries and mixed happiness of all living beings are only of different degree and quality, but no one is free from the miseries of birth, death, old age, and disease. Similarly, everyone has his destined happiness also. No one can get more or less of these things simply by personal endeavors. Even if they are obtained, they can be lost again. One should not therefore waste time with these flimsy things. One should only endeavor to go back to Godhead. That should be the mission of everyone's life. Text number 19. Navai jano jatu katanchana vrajain mukunda sevyan yavadanga sangsriting smaran mukundang rupaguhanam punar vihatam ichen narasagraho jana. My dear Vyasa, even though a devotee of the Lord Krishna, sometimes falls down somehow or other, he certainly does not undergo material existence like others, fruit of workers, etc. Because a person who has once relished the taste of the lotus feet of the Lord can do nothing but remember that ecstasy again and again. Srila Prabhupada's purport. A devotee of the Lord automatically becomes uninterested in the enchantment of material existence because he is rasagraha, or one who has tasted the sweetness of the lotus feet of Lord Krishna. There are certainly many instances where devotees of the Lord have fallen down due to uncongenial association, just like fruit of workers, who are always prone to degradation. But even though he falls down, a devotee is never to be considered the same as a fallen karmi. A karmi suffers the result of his own fruit of reactions, whereas a devotee is reformed by chastisement directed by the Lord himself. The sufferings of an orphan and the sufferings of a beloved child of a king are not one and the same. An orphan is really poor because he has no one to take care of him. But a beloved son of a rich man, although he appears to be on the same level as the orphan, is always under the vigilance of his capable father. A devotee of the Lord, due to wrong association, sometimes imitates the fruit of workers. The fruit of workers want to lord it over the material world. Similarly, a neophyte devotee foolishly thinks of accumulating some material power in exchange for devotional service. Such foolish devotees are sometimes put into difficulty by the Lord himself. As a special favor, he may remove all material paraphernalia. By such action, the bewildered devotee is forsaken by all friends and relatives, and so he comes to his senses again by the mercy of the Lord and is set right to execute his devotional service. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that such fallen devotees are given a chance to take birth in a family of highly qualified brahmanas or in a rich mercantile family. A devotee in such a position is not as fortunate as one who is chastised by the Lord and put into a position seemingly of helplessness. The devotee who becomes helpless by the will of the Lord is more fortunate than those who are born in good families. The fallen devotees born in a good family may forget the lotus feet of the Lord because they are less fortunate. But the devotee who is put into a forlorn condition is more fortunate because he swiftly returns to the lotus feet of the Lord, thinking himself helpless all around. Pure devotional service is so spiritually relishable that a devotee becomes automatically uninterested in material enjoyment. That is the sign of perfection in progressive devotional service. A pure devotee continuously remembers the lotus feet of Lord Sri Krishna and does not forget him even for a moment, not even in exchange for all the opulence of the three worlds. Ready for 20? Idam hi vishvam bhagavan ivetaro yato jagatstana nirodha sambhava tadi swayam veda bhavam statapite pradesha matram bhavatak padarshitam. The Supreme Lord, Personality of Godhead, is himself this cosmos, and still he is aloof from it. From him only has this cosmic manifestation emanated, in him it rests, and unto him it enters after annihilation. Your good self knows all about this. I have given only a synopsis. Purport: for a pure devotee, the conception of Mukunda, Lord Sri Krishna, is both personal and impersonal. The impersonal cosmic situation is also Mukunda because it is the emanation of the energy of Mukunda. For example, a tree is a complete unit, whereas the leaves and the branches of the tree are emanated parts and parcels of the tree. The leaves and branches of the tree are also the tree, but the tree itself is neither the leaves nor the branches. The Vedic version that the whole cosmic creation is nothing but Brahman means that since everything is emanating from the Supreme Brahman, nothing is apart from him. Similarly, the part and parcel, hands and legs, are called the body, but the body as the whole unit is neither the hands nor the legs. The Lord is the transcendental form of eternity, cognition, and beauty, and thus the creation of the energy of the Lord appears to be partially eternal, full of knowledge, and beautiful also. The captivated conditioned souls under the influence of the external energy Maya are therefore entrapped in the network of the material nature. They accept this as all in all, for they have no information of the Lord, who is the primeval cause. Nor have they information that the parts and parcels of the body, being detached from the whole body, are no longer the same hand or leg as when attached to the body. Similarly, a godless civilization detached from the transcendental loving service of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is just like a detached hand or leg. Such parts and parcels may appear like hands and legs, but they have no efficiency. The devotee of the Lord, Srila Vyasadeva, knows this very well. He is further advised by Srila Narada to expand the idea so that the entrapped conditioned souls may take lessons from him to understand the Supreme Lord as the primeval cause. According to the Vedic version, the Lord is naturally fully powerful, and thus his supreme energies are always perfect and identical with him. Both the spiritual and the material skies and their paraphernalia are emanations of the internal and external energies of the Lord. The external energy is comparatively inferior, whereas the internal potency is superior. The superior energy is living force, and therefore she is completely identical. But the external energy, being inert, is partially identical. But both the energies are neither equal to nor greater than the Lord, who is the generator of all energies. Such energies are always under his control, exactly as electrical energy, however powerful it may be, is always under the control of the engineer. The human being and all other living beings are products of his internal energies. Thus, the living being is also identical with the Lord, but he is never equal or superior to the personality of Godhead. The Lord and the living beings are all individual persons. With the help of the material energies, the living beings are also creating something, but none of their creations are equal or superior to the creations of the Lord. The human being may create a small playful Sputnik and may throw it into outer space, but that does not mean that he can create a planet like the Earth or Moon and float it in the air as the Lord does. Men with a poor fund of knowledge claim to be equal to the Lord. They are never equal to the Lord. This is never to be. The human being, after attaining complete perfection, may achieve a large percentage of the qualities of the Lord, say up to 78%. But it is never possible to surpass the Lord or to become equal with him. In a diseased condition only, the foolish being claims to be one with the Lord and thus becomes misled by the illusory energy. The misguided living beings, therefore, must accept the supremacy of the Lord and agree to render loving service to Him. For this they have been created. Without this, there cannot be any peace or tranquility in the world. Srila Vyasadeva is advised by Srila Narada to expand this idea in the Bhagavatam. In the Bhagavad Gita also, the same idea is explained. Surrender fully unto the lotus feet of the Lord. That is the only business of the perfect human being. Now we'll take a few reflections or questions. Yes, Bhavani Bhakti.
The verse mentioned that everyone is destined for their happiness and we cannot make it more or less by our endeavor. Can you elaborate a little bit more, especially with regards to over-endeavor and when to, how do you understand that?
Lord Chaitanya, after taking sannyas, went out into the world and he took some of his followers with him. And as they walked away from their normal settings, Mahaprabhu turned to them and said, "Did you bring anything?" And they all said, "No, my Lord, we didn't bring anything. You didn't tell us to bring anything." He said, "Good. I want you to walk in the world and notice that the world's filled up with food and money, but every living being can only get what's destined to them. After all, food and money is everywhere. Why wouldn't everybody have more than they want? They can only get a certain amount." And regarding over-endeavor, Srila Rupa Goswami has mentioned that if you are working very hard for something that drains your energy and takes you away from your chanting of one chapter of Bhagavad Gita a day, finishing your 16 rounds, following 4 regular principles, and feeling okay about yourself, then you may have entered into a territory where you're over-endeavoring. Satyadev Prabhu, my dear friend who was a paramedic for 20 years, went into paramedic school and he said the first lesson they taught us was a dead paramedic cannot help anybody. So your first job is to stay alive somehow or another. In the 8th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the matter of Gajendra Mokshana, Srila Prabhupada talks about how we have to have central strength and enthusiasm to go forward in devotional service. We have to live, he said, in a natural condition of life. And then he says, what's natural for one person may be unnatural for another. Some people thrive in the brahmacharya ashram when they see a little mat on the floor and a shelf full of books, and they get a little kitri at the end of the day, or the beginning. They think, what could be better than that? Other people feel they need a little more space, a roof over their head. They want to be active in other ways. Whatever way one can feel strength, 2 feet on the ground, ready to fight with Maya, Prabhupada said. We have to be able to judge, because we go through different phases in our life also. In each era of our life, we may have different needs. That's why the guidance is important. Need some coaching. A little more to the left, a little more to the left. Don't move your foot. Don't put it on the line. We have to see how we're doing and keep ourselves fit for spiritual life. So it's very much not only physical, mental, and we should also judge by whether we're gaining taste or enthusiasm for our hearing and chanting. Stay in a natural condition of life. Yes, all the way in the back. If it won't wake up Girija. Oh.
Hare Krishna, Guru Maharaj. I was thinking, of course, you mentioned this afternoon that spiritual potency as well as internal potency and external potency of the Lord are same depending on the perception that we see. And today's purport, Prabhupada writes about superior energy and inferior energy. So, in what way they are same, in what way they are different, and is it the perception is available only for the realized souls? How to understand, Guru Maharaj? Thank you.
Well, Prabhupada mentioned in regard to the material energy, the external energy, it's inert. Where's our research team? Inert. Please. Whereas the superior energy is, what's the word Prabhupada used? Did he say conscious? Or living force? Could you look it up? He said inert as opposed to, what is it? Living force. As Prabhupada often says, we are not dead stones. He puts it like that. It's a really good line to memorize because, just a sec, in many conversations, if you bring up that terminology, start the sentence with that when you're talking about consciousness or free will, you say, we're not dead stones. So the material nature has a verisimilitude of reality. Means it seems like reality because it comes from the real source. But it's an inferior energy because it doesn't have consciousness. Whereas the internal potency is conscious, which is the greatest show on earth. In the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna says, Ascharyavat pashyati kashyadenam ascharyavat vadati tataiva chanya. He said some people speak of the living force as amazing. Some see it as amazing. Some hear of it as amazing. And some, even after hearing about it, cannot understand it at all. Who can understand the living force? It's so beyond our conception. And then foolish people, they try to merge the two things together and they say, well, the living force and the inert energy are the same thing. Empirical science has no way of measuring consciousness, although many are waking up to this idea that there's a difference in the energies. Qualia, who's the experiencer of the energies? What is that experience that's taking place? Is that a material combination, that somebody's cognizant, that they're seeing something that's red, and so forth? So people are beginning to question the long-held idea in physical sciences that we'll be able to define or measure the conscious energy the same way we do matter. It's like if you have an instrument that just measures speed, like a speedometer, and you go around try to measure everything in the physical world just with one tool, with a speedometer, you come back and say, well, it's not much happening out there. So, conscious energy versus inert energy. Okay, go ahead.
Inert is an adjective from the 1614s, without inherent force, having no power to act or respond. From French, inerte, 16th century, or directly from Latin, inertem, nominate inners, unskilled, incompetent, inactive, helpless, weak, sluggish, worthless.
So we're not dead stones. Okay, anything else? Yes? 1, 2, 3, 4.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. So I had the question that if Krishna wants us to be with Him, why is there Maya to distract us to reach Krishna?
Because we're not dead stones. And we have volition to choose whatever we wish. Krishna comes to the door over there and says, who wants to go back to Godhead right now? No, if he comes to that door right back there, and he just leans in, and he says, we're going back to Godhead right now, you just got to come and jump on the bus. Not this room, I'd say in another room with different types of people. He leaned in and he said, let's go back to Godhead. Many people would say, okay, but not right now. I have a few things to finish up. And what about my Uncle Dilip? I can't leave him behind. So, Maya is from our perspective because we get attached to something other than Krishna. And this is the definition given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Bhayam dvitiya abhinibesha tasyad ishad apetasya viparya yosmritihi. When we turn away from Krishna, we see Maya. Maya means that which is not. Because there is nothing separate from Krishna. So when we have this misconception that there's something separate from Krishna, and we get absorbed in it, called abhinibeshata, then the potency of Maya is very strong, and she accommodates us so that we can live in a illusory state, the kind of a pretend world. She has the potency to cover and to move us away from Krishna so that we don't have to hear about him. Because the soul has volition, which means free will, and we can choose which way to look. So Krishna consciousness literally means turning our attention back to Krishna. And as soon as we do, then we see that Maya is one of Krishna's energies. And the Bhagavatam gives the example, it's like fog. The sun's always there, but when the fog comes, we can't see the sun. And then we get lost, because even pedestrians sometimes, the fog is so thick, pedestrians lose their way. They can't see where they're going. We can't see where we're going without the light of the sun. So Kechit Kevalaya Bhakta Vasudeva Parayana Agam Dunvandikartsnena Nihara Eva Paskara. This verse says that when a person becomes fully dedicated to Krishna, then the fog of Maya, it burns off, because the sun of Krishna is so powerful that that insignificant mist or fog gets dissipated by the sun. You asked a classical question. It's asked in all religious systems, how did we get to where we are right now? So that's one of the fundamental answers given in the Srimad Bhagavatam. Okay? Good question. Okay, everybody who knows who's next and who isn't, I can't decide, so you all have to fight it out amongst yourselves. You're next, then, and then Jamuna is also, okay, go ahead.
Hare Krishna Maharaj. My question is, as time is drawing near that we're leaving soon, feeling a little bit anxious that I'm immersed here in Krishna 24 hours a day practically. We go back home to real life. How do I maintain my enthusiasm?
I suggest chanting one chapter of Bhagavad Gita every day. It's our mainstay. The hearing and chanting, wherever we are, stays. It's what makes everything go. It doesn't matter where you set up camp, really. Once you get set up, you start hearing and chanting again. Bring the people together, bring the family together, bring your friends together. If you're on the North Pole, get on a sleigh or something like that, and find somebody up there to hear and chant with. As soon as you start hearing a chanting, you'll notice that you're back in the spiritual world. And you can never be separated from it. And it's an important feeling to have, that I'll never be separated from the Dham, because it's there in the sound vibration. Every realm is defined by its sound. Om Bhur Bhuva Swa Tat Savitur Varenyam. There's a way in which there are realms within this world, and each one has a unique soundtrack. And what's beautiful about our process is that you can adjust your own soundtrack. And if you do an audit of your soundtrack in your life, and you realize that there are gaps, you can fill them in. Then you become known as a stalwart, because wherever you go, you carry the spiritual world with you. We should feel a little trepidation leaving the environment of the Dham, and that's a good thing. Because what if we wanted to flee from this place and never come back? It's like, I can't wait to go to New Delhi so I can watch a movie or something. Because I know some people have lived in the Dham and then thought, well, let me go somewhere else. And there are other people that are living somewhere else and they're thinking, oh, I wish I was in the Dham. So to carry that angst with you is really nice. We develop a relationship with the Dham. There are certain things you'll see. I said this in the beginning in Puri, and I think I mentioned it also when we got here. You're going to catch emotions. There'll be incidents that happen here that flash on your mind and heart, and they're yours to keep, and they're always going to be there. And if you also have a sense when you leave that, okay, let me tell my employer that I'm coming back. I need 10 days on this time frame because I'm going to come back. That holds that place for you, that you know you're coming back to your home. And if it starts to feel like home here and you feel teary-eyed when you're leaving and when you're driving away and you feel that, that's Krishna consciousness. We should feel like that all the time, that separation from the Dham. Lord Chaitanya said it. He said you should always live in Vrindavan. If you can't live there physically, he said, you should live there in your mind and heart. And we cultivate that. You can hear about Vrindavan, and in fact, it's part of our philosophy. Where's the height of Krishna consciousness? Bhaktivinoda Thakur is that Kurukshetra. Not Bhagavad Gita being spoken, but when Krishna and the gopis meet again after 100 years, and they're at Kurukshetra, and the gopis are saying, Krishna, not here. You got to come back to Vrindavan. Bhaktivinoda Thakur says this is the most intense time. That's why we celebrate Rath Yatra. You know, that feeling of separation from the Dham. If you're always thinking about it, you bring something back from the Dham, a little dust or a stone. And Lord Chaitanya had a Govardhan Shila, and he'd hold it to his chest, he'd touch it to his face, and bathe it with his tears. And he was always thinking about Govardhan and Vrindavan. So we should feel like that too. Okay, one. Did you go yet? You've been waiting for a while. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, 1. This is so hard. Okay, go ahead. Somebody with an IQ can figure this out. Go.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, I actually have 2 questions, if that's okay.
Okay.
The first one is, our needs are constantly changing. And if within a family, our needs are changing in different directions or at different rates, how do we reconcile that?
You have to be Krishna conscious. If the goal of everybody in the family is to be Krishna conscious, then, and we also are aware of the fact that everything's always changing, then we'll adapt to what the new normal is as we move through these different eras, as I mentioned, of our life, and they're inevitably there. The only way to not feel uncomfortable, or we may inevitably feel uncomfortable, but the only way to process it when we are in uncomfortable situations is to become Krishna conscious and realize what's my ultimate goal here. And when we realize our ultimate goal, then we may see that changing circumstances are in our favor. That something's changing and it feels slightly uncomfortable. There's kind of benign discomfort that comes from changing, and then you see, oh, okay, I can take shelter of Krishna and the process of Krishna consciousness. And when we have these kinds of situations, as what Queen Kunti said, vipada santusa tasasvat tatra tatra jagat guru bhavato darshanam yatsyad apunar bhavadarshanam. So uncomfortable times means time when we remember Krishna and say, Krishna, why am I really here? And what's my purpose? So hearing, chanting, remembering Krishna, and remembering the goal of life. The Bhagavatam starts with Ante Narayana Smritihi. Don't forget that it all gets over at a certain point. And so many times it's unexpected. Prabhupada said a transcendentalist thinks I could leave at any moment, things could change in any moment, therefore stays in a ready state. He said a materialist thinks I will live forever, that everything will stay the same. So, yes, please.
My second question was, thank you for that, it helps. That if we're in a helpless situation and we know that Krishna is taking things away from us, what prevents us from turning to Krishna completely? I mean, I know I get the sense that, okay, maybe I'm still in control of the situation, but deep down I know I'm not. How do I overcome that? Or how do I just surrender and just let everything unfold? And
well, we use words like surrender, and it's more of a process than an event. There may be a series of things that take place, and then we come to a natural resolve where we figure out, oh, this is, now I'm able to fully embrace what happens, what has happened, or the new way that Krishna wants me to live. One of the best ways is by having association with mature devotees, because maturity can't be artificially induced. You actually have to go through the steps, which means you have to live your life. Vidyam chayas tadvedo bayam saha avidyayam ratum tirtva vidyayam ratum ashnute. The Sri Upanishad says only one who can learn the process of nations and that of transcendental knowledge side by side can transcend the influence of repeated birth and death and enjoy the full blessings of immortality. Meaning that we go through the various changes, and some of them will feel very uncomfortable, but we'll find that from that discomfort grows a new level of dependence on Krishna, a new realization. And if we're able to preemptively appreciate these types of things, then we're in Queen Kunti range. But good association is the most helpful. If you have association with mature devotees who have lived life, been through problems, and processed them in Krishna consciousness, then they will help you step by step to deal with it. And you'll get strength from them and realize where they're getting their strength from, which is Krishna. We really actually have no problem, in a sense, in this world, because it's kind of a dreamlike state that we're going through. And when you wake up from a dream and realize that it was phantom-like, then you get happy that you're awake and not subjected to the phantoms that arise within dreams. Okay, where are we? 1, 2.
Hare Krishna. Prabhu, I'm going to...
Better get a mic now. Okay, go ahead.
I'm going to defer to Jai Srila Prabhu because he mentioned something at lunch that I'm going to request him to share with the group.
Hare Krishna, I wasn't expecting that quite right now, but that's okay. Seems a little off to the side from the current discussion, but I was just sharing with the devotees how how in 1977, just before Srila Prabhupada left, in his rooms I came to see him, and he asked me what service I was doing. What are you doing? So I started to explain to him what I was doing. I said, oh, Srila Prabhupada, you had said that you wanted ghee for India, and we have a small business and we're trying to create money for ghee and so on. So I wobbled on a little bit. This was only about 3 weeks before Srila Prabhupada departed the world, which is another whole story I can maybe share some other time. But next to me, sitting on the floor in front of Srila Prabhupada, was Gopal Krishna. He wasn't Maharaj at the time, but he was still a Grihastha. And then Srila Prabhupada just took a moment and said, this is very nice. He said, you make money. And he pointed to Gopal Krishna, he said, and you print books. So I was just sharing how that was about it. That's all we talked about at lunchtime. So Gopal Prabhu said, please, you have to share that. So maybe, yeah, Hare Krishna.
He said, you make money?
He said, you make money.
He's pointed to you?
Yes, and then he pointed to Gopal, who was right next to me, and said, and you print books. So it was really a perfect sort of statement. And I took from it many things, but I really felt Srila Prabhupada was trying to encourage me. He had called me to his room, and I was just amazed that, Srila Prabhupada would, at the time, I wrote some things about this, that, when we were in intense pain and in dire situation, just about to leave, the last thing I would want to do is call a young boy to your room and start trying to give him mercy, but that was what Prabhupada's intention was. So it was really sweet. So, and I felt basically he was saying, be successful. I don't think Srila Prabhupada was really telling me, you've got to make lots of money. Although we did make lots of money for building a temple in New Zealand, but that's another whole thing. But he was saying, be successful. Right now, that's what your service, you want to do that, then do it and connect it to
Thank you so much.
Hare Krishna.
These anecdotes are extremely valuable. And thanks, Gopal, for bringing him out. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Okay, Jamuna?
Hi, Krishna Gurudev.
Hare Krishna.
I have a question around dissatisfaction. From time to time, there is this feeling that something's missing, I'm not satisfied. And I was just wondering, as we were reading the verses, that how do you differentiate if it's material frustration that just needs to be tolerated? Or is it some sort of divine intervention, spiritual dissatisfaction that needs to be actioned on so I can actually receive what Krishna is trying to send my way?
What a perfect question for this context, because that's what this chapter is about. It starts with Srila Vyasadeva asking Narada, why am I dissatisfied? And he answers, he said, because you're not fully aligned with the purpose of your service. And it indicates that we may feel dissatisfied from time to time, and we may need to readjust our service. And therefore, it's important to have guidance. And if you have a similar answer, you have mature guidance, and you can talk to devotees, it can help. I have an anecdote from my own life. It's not about dissatisfaction, it was about a dire situation in management. I had a duty to perform. Something happened beyond my control. There was an accident within one of the temples I was helping with, and a huge lawsuit. And as things unfolded, it was uncertain exactly how financially the temple would be protected and who was going to say what to whom, and I was quite anxious about it. And I had gone to talk to some God brothers who happened to be in town, and I had mentioned to them the circumstances, and they said, yeah, that is pretty serious, but we think you'll be okay. And I was driving home thinking, well, that didn't help. But one of them, about 3 days later, sent me a verse from the 4th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, which to this day I go back to again and again. Somehow or other, it gave me complete relief, because it was about Prithu Maharaj and how he was trying to perform his duty. It was an Ashvamedha Yajna. It was going to be his 100th, and Lord Indra became envious. So he prevented him from performing that sacrifice by doing something untoward. He stole the horse for the sacrifice, not once, not twice, but 3 times. And he did it in a very obnoxious way. And finally, Prithu Maharaj became very angry. He wanted to kill Indra. And the priest there said, oh, you can't kill him, but we'll do it for you. And we'll do an incantation and suck him into the sacred fire, and we'll kill him that way. And then Brahma came and said, hey, nobody's killing Indra. And then he gave this advice, which was that even very sincerely engaged people engaged in the process of Krishna consciousness may be faced with reversals. He said, don't try to fix them yourself when they're providential, because you'll enter more deeply within the depths of anxiety. And then probably gave a short purport about that, about how when things come, sometimes we have to tolerate them. And I suddenly felt satisfied. So in a similar way, when we feel dissatisfied, a couple things about dissatisfaction. One is, why is it suddenly getting freezing cold in here? Just curious how that happened. I can't hear anything, but I know the AC's on, and that's the cause of it. I was just wondering. I see Ma Bhagavat Prabhu has his hoodie on, and he's from Canada, so. And first, 2 things about satisfaction that I find interesting. One is that Krishna mentions it in the Bhagavad Gita, in the 17th chapter, as a practice. He says you have to practice satisfaction. And it's an austerity to practice satisfaction. And so how do you practice satisfaction? Well, there are ways in which you can see circumstance as favorable for Krishna consciousness, and you can feel grateful for what's happening to you and so forth. So that's just one point about satisfaction itself. It's not that we have to wait for a satisfactory situation to arise, because they rarely do. And there's an old saying, things are never as good as they seem or as bad as they seem. Because we get something good and they think, oh, yeah, but that means that you got to move. We got this, but then that's always there. So we have to learn the art of feeling satisfied with whatever comes. That's one thing, and it's sort of implied in this verse, tasyaiva hetu prayate kovido. But then from the other side, when we're feeling dissatisfied with our service, we have the example of Vyasadeva asking Narada, saying, please look into my heart and tell me, how can I adjust my service so that I'll feel satisfied? And that's something we have to do regularly. or we should do regularly, is fine-tune what we're doing. Never assume that we've figured it all out and we're perfectly situated, but try to get the best advice that we can, always to adjust. And if you have somebody that can give you honest feedback on a regular basis and they know how to do it nicely so that you don't walk away feeling demoralized, then that's all the better. Good coaching, mentoring is always important in any discipline. Is that all right? Do you feel satisfied with the answer?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
All right. Yeah, 1, 2. Those are the last two.
Hare Krishna Guru Maharaj. I'm like, when I'm going along the streets in the bus, I'm seeing all the ads, they have Krishna pictures, or all the shops have Krishna chart, and everything Krishna, and even the roads, Bhakti Vedanta Marg. It's so like, sometimes I'm feeling that do I even deserve to be here? It's such a miracle that I'm here. And I was remembering when Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he gets a dream and Nityananda Prabhu comes and he tells him that, oh Krishnadas, don't be afraid. Go to Vrindavan and you'll get everything there. There's a Bengali verse, Are Are Krishnadas, Na karo ho bhoy, Vrindavane jaho tumi sorbos labho hoy. Something like you get everything there. So, and I thought that, all of us are also Krishnadas, like, we are also living entities. So, just come to Vrindavan and we'll get everything. Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami also, once he came, he got the association of Rupa Goswami, Sanatan Goswami, Raghunath Das Goswami, and then he went to the Madan Mohan temple, and then the garland fell. He got Madan Mohan's blessing, and he could write Chaitanya Charitamrita. So I was just connecting, when we went to Madan Mohan temple yesterday, that everything you can get here. So thank you so much.
Sounds like your life. I mean, what a charmed life you have. Fully engaged in service, and your family, extended family, everyone engaged in service, and we have a blessed life. There's no doubt about it. We have Jagannath Puri, Mayapur, Vrindavan. We have Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, Chaitanya Charitamrita, etc. We have the holy name. That's why that prayer, Nama Shreshtam Manamapi Shachi Putramatra Sarupam. Such a beautiful prayer about, thank you, thank you, thank you. You've given me so much. You can barely digest it all. So thank you for sharing that sentiment in such a sweet way. Okay, last one.
Thank you, Maharaj, for answering everybody's questions so attentively. My question is Bhagavad Gita chapter 11 that we chanted on verse 52. Krishna says to Arjuna that two-arm form that you are seeing is very, what did he say? Very difficult to behold. But isn't that two-arm form is the same form that everybody was seeing before he was showing the vision? That he incarnated as an original person, like his original form. So I am confused of that two-arm form that everybody was seeing as a child, as a person, and two-arm form at when he was revealing his universal form.
Such a good question. Thank you. We see Krishna according to our qualification. In fact, you'll find in the Bhagavatam, in the story of Agasura, Shukadev Goswami mentions Itam Satam Brahma Sukhana Bhutya Dasyam Gatanam Paradaivatena Mayashitanam Naradarakena Sakam Vrajaru Krita Punya Punjaha. Mentions how those whose minds are tuned to the impersonal, Brahman, they worship the Brahman. They don't even see Krishna. I could relate to that. Before I joined Krishna Conscious Movement, I had taken a mantra from a book, and it said, just chant this mantra, Rama. Everywhere you go, see God in everything. So I was so accustomed to that. And when I came to the temple, I couldn't even see Krishna's form and the deities. I looked at the flowers. I was going, Rama, Rama. And then it wasn't until I heard Bhagavatam in the association of devotees that I started waking up to the beauty of the deities. So, first, he mentions those whose minds are tuned to Brahman. They see Brahman. And then he said, Dasyam Gatanam Paradaivatena. Those who are tuned to the grandeur of Krishna in Vaikuntha, they see him as four-armed. And then he says, Mayashitanam Darakena. Those who are completely covered by the material energy, they just think Krishna is an ordinary person. That guy? Who do you, that? You say that's God? And then Sakamvrja Rukrita Punya Punjaha. But those who have achieved this rarefied position of this rarefied consciousness, he's talking about the cowherd boys. They were there playing with Krishna as friends. And so another situation we find when Krishna enters the wrestling arena in Mathura, and there's a verse that we chant. It's part of our nectarian verses that we chant at ISV. And it talks about how the various types of people in the audience, they saw Krishna enter. They all perceived him with their eyes, but they all saw him differently, according to their disposition. And so the two-armed form of Krishna is the form that's so dear to those who have this natural love for Krishna. In Vrindavan, there's a sense of unceremonious love. They don't want anything fancy. They just like the beautiful, simple form of Krishna with a flute and peacock feather. Evidenced by when the gopis and the other residents, some of the other residents go to the Kurukshetra and they see Krishna there dressed up in royal dress. They're like, could you just get rid of that stuff and come back to Vrindavan? You know, we know you're Krishna, but we like you the other way. They're predisposed to that natural Krishna at home. He's at home in Vrindavan. He's not at the office with official garb on and things like that. So that Somya Vapu, it's called, that form that's so sweet and loving, is what the pure devotees of Vrindavan are naturally attracted to. So it means that Nayam Sukapo Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutta Gyaninam Chatmabhutanam Yata Bhakti Matam Iha. It's one of the verses Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quoted again and again, at least 5 times, according to, maybe it was Mukharvin told me the other day when I quoted it, and I said, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said this to Venkatabhata, and somewhere else he said, actually I found 5 places Lord Chaitanya said it. Was it Mukharvin or you? Mukharvin. And so the verse is all about what Krishna's saying here, that by pure devotional service, then you can see, relate to, appreciate the two-armed form. Otherwise, so many people, they don't get that God's even a person. And Jnana Yajnena Chapyanye Yajanto Mam Upasate Ekatvena Pritatvena Bahuda Vishuto Mukam. Remember we talked about that the other night? Said some people see Krishna as the universe. I needed a car, I prayed to the universe, gave me a car. They have no conception God's a person. They say he's the universe. Because that's what their consciousness is. So Krishna reveals himself according to our desire to see him. And if we don't desire to see him at all, then he gives us a whole world to investigate where we don't see any trace of him. In fact, most of the academic world is steeped in this. You say anything you want, you have tenure, you won't be fired, just don't talk about God as a reality. And then you'll be fine here at our university. It becomes so atheistic and distanced from what to speak of God, a two-armed form of God. That seems to most people who are academically trained to be preposterous and archaic and primitive. That's what the primitives believe. God has a two-armed form. He looks like a human. Like, give me a break. He's just a light at very most, or there is no God, or it's a mental construct, or something like that. So one has to have association with pure devotees, and the heart has to change. And then one can have this natural, friendly, or other types of relationship with Krishna in his two-armed form. Do you know the story when the gopis were looking for Krishna? And Krishna was playing with them, so he tried to hide himself, but he couldn't find a place to hide, so he just manifested a form of Narayan. And the gopis came around the corner of the bower, and then they saw Narayan there, and they just offered a basin, and they said, "You seen Krishna?" He might have come by this way, but they couldn't see the form of, when they beheld the form of Narayan, they just became naturally reverent and just, where's Krishna? Where's that beautiful form? We want to see that. Does that help? Okay. Let's sing a song about Lord Nityananda. Because if all else fails, chant Hare Krishna. If all else fails, and it will, chant Hare Krishna. And if you're ever feeling like the lowest person on earth and you can't get anything done and your life's falling apart, you know what you should do? Take shelter of Lord Nityananda and chant Hare Krishna. So let's sing that song, Koda Nitai. Does everyone have a songbook? If not, we have some for sale. They're $100 for anybody who didn't get one yet. Page 74. If this song doesn't melt your heart, and it will, don't worry. Okay. Boro sukar khabar gai, boro sukar khabar gai. Boro sukar khabar gai, boro sukar khabar gai. I'm singing news of the greatest happiness. At the place known as Surabhi Kunj in Sri Navadvip, the marketplace of the holy name has now been opened, and Lord Nityananda himself is the proprietor. Such wonderful things are going on in that blissful marketplace. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is selling the pure holy name wholesale, merely for the price of one's faith. Seeing the assembly of devotees eagerly waiting to purchase the name, Lord Nityananda first examines each of them to test their qualification. Then he sells them the name by bargaining for his price accordingly. Oh, my dear friends, if you really want to buy this pure holy name, then just come along with me, for I am now going to meet with this Nityananda Mahajan. Thus you will finally be able to acquire the pure holy name. I will also take my due commission, and in this way all three of us will fulfill our desires. Sri Nityananda Prabhu is so extraordinarily merciful, accepting only one's faith in the holy name. He bestows the topmost divine bliss. When Nitai sees a tear welling in someone's eye upon chanting the name of Gaura, he instantly gives his support to that person. Indeed, he bestows all divine opulences. He gives that person genuine realization of the pure teachings of Sri Krishna, as found in the Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam. While displaying all this inconceivable mercy, he pays no attention to one's caste, material wealth, mundane knowledge, or physical ability. Now, dear friends, Please reject all of Maya's entangling snares. If you are a householder, then just remain at your home. If you are renounced, then just live in the forest. Either way, nothing more will trouble you. We no longer need to fear the terrible age of quarrel, for the most merciful Lord Nityananda gives the holy name to anyone and everyone, even to the lowest among men. Bhaktivinoda loudly calls out and proclaims to all, other than the lotus feet of Lord Nityananda, there is no shelter. Boro Sukar Kabargai, Boro Sukar Kabargai. Surabi Kunjete Namar Hat Kuleche. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Boromojar katatai, Boromojar katatai. Shadamulye Shuddha Namse Hatete Bikai. Shadamulye Shuddha Namse Hatete Bikai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Jatapakta Vrindabasi, Jatapakta Vrindabasi. Arikare deke nam beche taro kasi. Arikare deke nam beche taro kasi. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Jarinam Kimbe Bai, Jarinam Kimbe Bai. Amar Shange Chala Mahajaner Kache Jai. Amar Shange Chalo Mahajanir Kache Jai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Kodanitai, Kodanitai. Tumi Kimbe Krishna Nam, Tumi Kimbe Krishna Nam. Dasuri Lobo Ami Purno Habekam. Dasturi Loibo Ami Purna Habekam. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Borodoyal Nityananda, Borodoyal Nityananda. Shadamatra Loiten Parama Ananda. Shadamatra Loiten Parama Ananda. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. एक बार देख ले चक्षे जाल, एक बार देख ले चक्षे जाल. Gora bole nitai den sakala samba. Gora bole nitai den sakala samba. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Den Shuddha Krishna Shika, Den Shuddha Krishna Shika. Jati dan ditya palna kori apeksha. Jati dan ditya palna kori apeksha. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Amani Chari Maya Jal, Amani Chari Maya Jal. Krihe tako bane tako nata ke janjal. Krihe tako bane tako nata ke janjal. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Aranaiko Kalirabai, Aranaiko Kalirabai. Achandale den nam nitai doyamoy. Achandale den nam nitai doyamoy. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Koda Nitai, Koda Nitai. Bhakti Vinod Dake Koi, Bhakti Vinod Dake Koi. Nitai charana bina ar nahi ashray. Nitai charana bina ar nahi ashray. Koda nitai, koda nitai. Koda nitai, koda nitai. Just a comment on the appeal of the song is that almost everyone in the dark material world feels left out and questions whether they're actually loved or not. And as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, vitaraga bhayakrodha. These are psychological impressions that we have from being in a dark place in the material world. And that we fear that God actually doesn't care for us. And therefore people resort to impersonalism. They feel it's so painful that maybe it's better if I'm not a person. And they're so conflicted. Epistemologically, they can't understand how God could be a person and still there could be suffering in the world. So they have no clear philosophy on that. And therefore, they become angry. So there's fear, anger, and the result is, with no shelter, people become more and more attached to the material world. And so, when we hear that Lord Nitai is completely accepting of who we are, as fallen as anyone may be, or from whatever background one's from, he accepts the service. If you have a glimmer of faith, if you even look in his direction, or even if you don't, he'll come and get you and pull you along. There's an awakening of this hope within the heart that Krishna is really there for me. I have evidence. It's anecdotal, but I'll give it anyway. In reading the Bhagavatam, there's a section where Gopal Kumar goes back to Godhead. He ends in his long circuitous journey in Goloka Vrindavan. And Krishna comes from the forest with his cowherd friends. He sees Gopal Kumar and he runs to meet him and he embraces him. And Gopal Kumar says that, I always knew that God loved me because he loves everyone, but I didn't know he specifically loved me. And I noted, and have noted, again, anecdotally, but it's happened so many times, in reading that section in a group of devotees, even stoic devotees, stalwarts, when I look up, there's tears coming to their eyes. Because that's the revelation everyone's waiting for. We want to know from our parents, do you really love me? You want to know from our siblings, do you really love me? Or are you just saying that? You want to know from your other associates, am I okay? And when Lord Nityananda comes as a doshadarshi and said, I don't see any fault, I just accept you. It's an emotional conversion. It brings us out of the darkness. That's what we're all looking for. Everybody, every living entity, even animals, they need shelter. You see animals that have been mistreated, and they have this psychological aversion to coming near people because they don't want to be beat anymore. So this song also brings out that sense, because Lord Nityananda, anytime Lord Nityananda's name comes up in any of the songs by Bhaktivinoda Thakur, people just feel free, freed from these psychological, torturous impressions that we have that we're not good enough and that we can't approach God. He doesn't really love us, and so forth. So Bhaktivinoda Thakur announces it to the whole world. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to give everyone an opportunity to have an intimate association with Krishna. And I was thinking also, we sang this song when we were in Jagannath Puri. We were at Dangabanga River. Okay, in Puri, what we went to today, when we were in Brahmanda Ghat, where you feel like, okay, I can just stay here. The Jamuna's there, and there's a tree, and Krishna performs pastimes, the people are sweet, and you just feel like, yeah, this is where I want to be. It's like that in Puri at Dangabanga, isn't it? The Dangabanga River is so sweet. You see these amazing birds down there, and it's where Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda performed their pastimes. So I was thinking today of these pilgrimages. It's an intoxicating beverage. And people, they mix things together. Because otherwise everyone would just drink straight alcohol or whatever and get intoxicated. But they have millions. All you have to do is walk through duty free, which you have to in every airport now. They got all these different bottles. All it is alcohol. But in going to the Dhams, we have Puri, Mayapur, Vrindavan, and you mix them together. You have a little drink. And it's like this ambrosia. They're all in there at the same time, right? And if you came for the Vrindavan part, then you'll get that here too, because there's different parts you go to, and we're mixing all these things together. There's a spiritual intoxication. Someone asked the other day, what's the replacement for these things? Prabhupada already said, for gambling, it's surrender to Krishna. But it's like the spiritual intoxication. Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he says, Jivana hoil shesh, nabaji le rishikesh, Bhaktivinod upadesh, ek baranam rashe matore. Mato means to become intoxicated. He said, try to get this drink. Try to drink this. That's why we're going around. We're like drunkards. We're driving around in a bus, yo, hanging out the windows, hey. And today was quite intoxicating. I mean, when we got in that big hall, I was with those Bengalis. You got to love Bengalis, come on. Every time you see them, you say, Hare Krishna, they go crazy. And we were chanting in there, and they went nuts. And it was pandemonium in there, spiritual pandemonium. We'll never forget that. That's the kind of thing, it washes away. Bhagavatam says, Yat pada pankacha palasa vilasya bhakta, karmashrayam kartitam ukartayanti santa. See, you need this vilas. It's like a spiritual intoxication. The flavors of the spiritual world, you get them here in the Dham, and we get them from Prabhupada's books. So we have to keep drinking, become drunkards in Krishna consciousness. It's there in the Bhagavatam, very beginning, it says, Nigama kalpatoro galitam palam shukam kadamrita drava samyutam pibata bhagavatam rasamalayam muhur aho rasika bhuvi bhavaka. Said it's a drink, pibata, drink it. You drink it down, and then the acharyas say, you get intoxicated, you fall down on the floor and go unconscious. And what do? You wake up and drink some more. So that's our life. And most people don't have this. They have to put on their headset and walk through Dogdu in New York City to some job they hate. And, right? Yeah, I know. They put on the game face and they just go. So we have to distribute this to others. So going back, one way to feel satisfied and to feel okay with all the changes that are taking place in our life, go help other people. Even, what was his name? Yeah, I know, I have one more minute. What's the name of the book? How to Stop Worrying and Start Living. Who wrote that book? Dale Carnegie. Great book for temple presidents. And and in it, last point, he says, if you're in anxiety and you feel overwhelmed, he said, think how to serve somebody. Go serve somebody else. Give them what you have. And Prabhupada says the same thing. Best way to fix your mind in Krishna consciousness, think about how to do good for others. So whatever problems we have, they evaporate when we go spread the holy name. Have a huge kirtan, set it up so everybody can hear it, and then give out as many books as you can, and give out prasadam, and make everybody dance, and then everything gets washed away by the holy name. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Krishna Balaram, Shri Shri Gauritai, Shri Shri Radhe Sham, Lalita Vishaka. If you so desire, please bless our yatra and our yatris, that we may always dance in ecstasy wherever we go, like Lord Chaitanya did, and taste the sweetness of the deities there, and may we take it back and distribute it to everybody all over the world. And may we also reiterate, please take care of Ladali, our dearest devotee who's been doing that for her whole life and now is very ill. Thank you for considering our request. Om Tat Sat. Everyone agrees with this prayer in whole or in part. Please say Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
I have an appointment I have to go to. So if you don't mind, I'm going to offer my obeisances and then head out that door. And I will see you, Krishna willing, tomorrow morning. And we got 2 more days left, so let's really go for it. And it's an emotional time, isn't it? Because we don't want this to stop. But we got 2 whole days. Krishna can expand days of Brahma. Vanchakalpataruscha kripa sindhavi. Please don't go anywhere. We have a few very important announcements. Please go ahead.